I can hear Grant Cardone. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into something. If you don't, then things pass you by, and you wonder why things passed you by.
I finally said to myself, you can't ask why me. That's not important, why me. The real question that you need to be asking is, what will I do now that I've got the opportunity?
The Modern Selling Podcast.
Imagine having the power to identify companies visiting your website, track their behavior in real time, and seamlessly integrate it all with your CRM. Leadfeeder is not just a tool, it's your secret weapon for efficient and targeted lead engagement. What sets Leadfeeder apart? It's the ability to provide detailed insights into visitor behavior, helping your sales team prioritize efforts and close deals faster. With customizable notifications and lead scoring, Leadfeeder is changing the game. Ready to revolutionize your approach to leads and deals? Head over to leadfeeder.com for your free demo today. That's LeadFeeder.com. Leadfeeder.com. Don't miss out on the future of successful lead generation with Leadfeeder.
Hey, Modern Selling Nation, Mario Martinez Jr. here, and I'm excited to bring you part 2 of a 2-part series podcast with my friend Trebor Johns on the Viking podcast. With that in mind, I want to make sure if you haven't heard part 1 yet of this particular podcast, stop this right now, rewind, go to the last episode right before this published podcast, and listen to that very important podcast. We talk about everything from business ownership to how we start at Vengreso to why FlyMSG to what are some of the challenges facing salespeople today on prospecting, automation, and all of these other elements that are super important for you to understand and learn. With that in mind, make sure you listen in now to this episode of the Modern Selling Podcast, which is part 2 with my friend Trebor Johns.
I'm really just fascinated hearing, what it is about, the business operations that, really frustrates. You were mentioning your frustrations. And so, in my mind, I'm thinking, what is this dude's desktop like? What is your desktop experience like? Well, when you're running your business from the command center, when you're Darth Vader up there's, what is your desktop like? And as far as, what is your frustrating points about, being able to be consistent or organized, or like you were saying about knowledge retrieval, being able just to have that at fingertip, or being able to compare analytics. What does it look like with your desktop?
So I am a very organized, compartmentalized individual, meaning my file structures are legit. Anybody can go inside. They can find anything because it's based on, I'll give you an example. Then I think this is absolutely relevant here in terms of the conversation. So if you were to go to our corporate Google Drive, we've got a folder for business strategy, competitive analysis, customer success, finance, human resources, legal, marketing, operations, product development, and sales. So let's look at sales. Underneath sales, I have business planning strategy, customer proposals and presentations, discount codes, partnerships, product collateral, sales enablement, pitch decks, territory management. Let's go in and, as an example, pick customer proposals. Under customer proposals, I have it organized as file that says 0 to 9, which is any company that starts with a number. I have a file called A-B-C-D-E-F, GHI, all the way through VWXYZ. I have file folders for each one of them. And those file folders are centered around a company name. So it allows you to be able to say, hey, if you're selling to Microsoft, you're going to go to the MNO file. You're going to open that up and you're going to create a folder called Microsoft. And then inside there might be you would save all your sales proposals, all your sales quotes. So we're very structured in that regard. And I think that fundamentally is the Achilles heel for most business owners, is that they're not organized. And you've got to think compartmentally. And so every one of our trees and our structures, our marketing folder is like drilled down to the nth degree, where you can search on basic words that you would think of, like, where did I store that at? Don't get me wrong. I sometimes like, where did I store that? If I were me, where would I have stored that at? And I'll do a keyword search like content marketing plan. Perhaps where I thought it should have been under marketing strategy, when I went into it, 10 weeks later, I actually saved it under demand generation, right? And that might happen. And so, but you label things that truly help you. That if you were to search it in 4 months from now and don't remember, you label it so that you can find it. So
I think that's great advice right there. Like, that is super great advice right there. Learning to organize now before you get down the path with all this crap and you don't know what to do, and then your anxiety attack trying to figure out how to go back and analyze it and organize it, or just mass delete it. And so I think that's great advice to early on to organize.
Absolutely. And my Gmail is structured in the exact same way, right? So I save all my emails, not all, many of the emails. I save all of them, and I have them organized by sales folders. And underneath sales folders, I have prospects, and then I have customers. And underneath customers, I have folders for every one of my customers. So if I'm getting an email, I'll throw it right inside there. I have one for marketing. I have one for product. And I have for all of our individual products, whether it's FlyMSG, FlyEngage, FlyPost, which is our AI post generator for sellers or business owners, FlyLearning. So I have it all broken down that way as well. Where I trip up at is actually centered around the daily tasks, the command center. So if you're actually looking at my Chrome window right now, I do every application that we have as a SaaS application. We do not buy any software at all whatsoever that you have to locally load it on your computer. And we do everything through a SaaS-based connection, except for, only exception, Microsoft Office Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Those are the only exceptions that we have as local software. Other than that, it's on a SaaS platform. And as such, right now, while you were asking me that question, I was counting the number of tabs that I have open.
Oh, goodness.
I do have 48 tabs that are open. Now, can I be uber successful in managing 48 tabs? No, absolutely not. But every one of them are open because at some point I had to go back inside there and I have to do something and or engage with something. And so that is what I've got going on my desktop. So I'd probably say my biggest area of growth and opportunity is certainly centered around organizing my Chrome tabs on my Chrome application.
I just did a quick count. I think I'm around like 80, give or take.
80 or 8?
80. It's been a slow day today, I think.
Now that would totally stress me out.
Oh man, sometimes it is. I really got to take it. I got to like kick my own butt sometimes. Like, you got to stop like tab surfing. Never get nothing done. Like, it's such like the enemy of productive work.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
So like, tell me some more about like what really got you to the point of like developing like your product. Like, so like how like, all right, like, let's just like focus on like the offer part of it. Like, all right, you started out as like a service, and like it evolved into a SaaS, which is really kind of foreseeable with what this whole model is. But like, so like, you kind of get what I'm asking here. Like, what is like you see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, I think the most successful applications are centered around a user problem, workflow problem, or filling a void where somebody can't do something, where somebody does something manually and it needs to be automated. And so for us, where we actually really started benefiting is all centered around thinking about the life of a business owner or a seller. Example, how we built FlyEngage, which is the LinkedIn commenting, how we built FlyPost, which is the AI social post generator, was centered around a very specific problem. In our training, we taught people how to write LinkedIn posts to be able to get attention. We taught people how to go about writing comments to get buyers' attention. But what we realized after doing this for 7 years was that majority of the people weren't writing comments. Majority of the people weren't writing posts. So the question that you had to ask was, why? And what we came to find out was because it took too much time. And as a result, sellers didn't do it. In addition, secondary problem was sellers didn't feel like, and business owners, that they had the expertise. So if you're selling to, as an example, a CFO, a financials application, as an example, you don't have as a salesperson the level of expertise that puts you at parity with that CFO. Now, if you're a salesperson and you're selling sales technology software to a sales leader, yeah, maybe you might. But if you're a salesperson selling to FinServe, no. HR, no. You don't have that level of expertise. So most business owners and sellers felt like, crap, I don't know what to say or what to write that will make me sound intelligent and or that will make me sound like I've got a level of expertise that they'll want to have a conversation. So that was the reason why that they weren't writing content. And the major reason was because it just took too long. They would sit there and think. And I said, well, God, I've been teaching this for 7 plus years. I could fix this problem. All they need is Mario, one of the top sales influencers on digital selling, to be with them on their LinkedIn. And that's what I did. We took our social selling training program, we fine-tuned it into the AI, and then we created these buttons that are right there on LinkedIn commenting or the social post generator. And literally, we programmed the AI to think like Mario and to write content. And now someone pushes a button and we'll write a curious reply, which asks a question to solicit engagement 100% of the time. And our sellers are booking meetings, meeting after meeting, because they're asking questions. They're becoming interested to be interesting. They're becoming interested to be interesting. And so we are helping them with that. And so then we said, well, that can't be the only thing, right, that we do. So we've got to look at how do we help them write content, not only on social media, but on email and or in LinkedIn and or in Salesforce and so we started building out our AI writer. And so we built out an AI social post generator. What used to take me 32 minutes to write a social media post on a topic, what used to take me that long now takes me less than 6 minutes. That is a tremendous productivity savings. And so our focus around building SaaS technology was, first, I got to find a problem that the seller needs to solve. Second, I need to be able to help them go from blank slate to now they're editing something. And boy, we can edit something way faster than we can write something, even if it's 3 sentences, right? And then the next thing after that is I want to add that all up to productivity savings. What does this do in terms of productivity savings, and how does this impact the organization? And prove that out to individuals that we are going to save you time and money. And that has been our focus around solving a very specific business problem and then showing it to the individual customers. And we've typed over 2 billion characters now, and we've saved millions of dollars across all of our users.
And so, I just love hearing the results, like, because that's really just what tickles everybody's fancies, the results. Does stuff work? Can I make my stuff work? Can I make my business work? Why, how can I get my business like that guy's business? Or, those are the things that are, keep business owners up at night. And so hearing the results is just, a good reinforcement. I like to really, keep people on this whole like creator path. Like, being a business owner is being a creator, building a building is being a creator. So is building a product, service, and a brand. You're a creator no matter what. So you kind of just keep that mindset and everything, with the sales enablement and with, other things, you can really have a solid business. And so I was thinking about, I'm in a group, a LinkedIn creator group, And I think that FlyMSG might be something pretty useful for that group. And I think I'm gonna drop a link in the group and see if people are interested with it. I'm testing it out right now. I think it's pretty cool. And so I just love the old SaaS stuff. And so I'm like having a hard time right now myself thinking about like jumping into SaaS, and like I have to really like pull the reins back, to stick with the service provider kind of thing, just because like the SaaS, and it's changing. The landscape is changing. Like it doesn't take years necessarily to develop software anymore. You can get stuff done in months, or get a good MVP done in some months. And if you got some money, you can get some momentum pretty quickly. If you got a network, you can get some momentum pretty quickly. And so those are the kind of things. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a sellable SaaS product, you just did all that for nothing. And so like the key before building a SaaS product, you'll hear two sides of the fence. Get an MVP quick, and then your other side, like make sure you know what you're doing before you go investing, some chunks of money, because that's really what it is. And whether you're making $1 million or $5 million or $10 million, throwing away chunks of money is just not what it doesn't wait. I don't get up every morning to do that. And so it's cool just hearing about people going into SaaS, and really I like the idea that you changed from service to SaaS. That's pretty cool. So tell me some more about like what your history was like. Where did you go to college? What got you into business? Where you come from? Stuff like that.
Well, this is an interesting story. I think you'll appreciate this. So I came from a poor Hispanic family. I was the first in my family to go to college. But there's an interesting story behind that. And that is when I decided to apply to colleges, then it cost $40 per application to submit your college application to any of the UC systems in California. UC Berkeley, UC Irvine, UCLA, all of these really great schools. And I had a goal, and that was I wanted to go to UC Berkeley. That from a kid, that's all I ever wanted to do was go to UC Berkeley, to be a cowbear. So come 1994, you had to apply at the your senior year, and I only had $41. My family $41 to be able to apply to a college. And I wrote a check for $40 out of that $41 that we had, and I applied to UC Berkeley. And it was an all or nothing. It was an all or nothing. And if I didn't get in, I was planning on going to massage school, NHI, National Holistic Institute, which was there in Emeryville, and I was going to become a massage therapist. Like that's what I thought I was going to do, right? So I applied.
Skated that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I applied to UC Berkeley, and I got in. One school, one college. The odds of doing that was next to none. And I don't know where I would be in life had I not gotten that opportunity. And this is where I tell like business owners, something that happened, something happened right after. So UC Berkeley, out of all, I think it's 11 UCs in California, UC Berkeley is the last college to send their letters out at the end. When you got them somewhere around the March 15th timeframe was when they had to send out their letters. And so they would send them out, and I got mine. They sent everybody's out on the same day, March 15th. So I got mine somewhere, a couple days later. And something the very next day, I got into class, and of course I was on the, again, a poor Hispanic student, probably the only, I think I was maybe one Mexican guy in all my classes, and it was all college prep classes, AP classes, or the advanced placement for the college preparatory classes, and we were in calculus. That was the class, which is, calculus is taken usually as a sophomore inside of college, and so we had a calculus class for our seniors, for some seniors. So we're inside of calculus, and everybody who had been waiting to hear from UC Berkeley was there in class, and everybody was like, I got in. Someone was like, I didn't get in. And there was a guy there. I know exactly his name. I know exactly what row I was sitting at. I know exactly what desk I was sitting at. I know exactly the position that he was sitting at, which was on top of the actual flat part of the desk with his foot on top of the chair. And he announced that he didn't get in to UC Berkeley, which was his dream school. But he did get into, I think it was UC Irvine or UCLA. So it got to me, and I said, I got in. And the first thing that this individual said, which I know the name and I'm not going to repeat it because that's not right. That's not cool. But he was a redhead. And the first thing he said was, how did you get in? And I didn't.
People do not get effort nowadays. I get the underdog better than anybody. And, putting in effort goes way farther than getting a free pass or thinking you're going to get any credit for being a good old boy or any of those type of things.
What was interesting is he had a valid question. He should have asked it, first of all. Those are the types of questions that you don't ask aloud, but he did. But it was a valid question, and here's why. I took the SATs 3 times. My best score was a 990. I was the worst, horrible test taker. I hated taking tests. So I got a 990, which was the lowest possible score you could possibly ever get to apply to a UC Berkeley, when most of them are going to be taking 1400s, 1300s, are probably the lowest. And of course, he got a 14-something on the SATs. But here's what I had. I played sports all 4 years. I lettered in sports all 4 years. I actually made all league in the sports. I actually joined every single club. I was a leader in every single one of those clubs. I was president, vice president, secretary in every one of those clubs. I had letter of recommendations from teachers up the wazoo. I had letters of recommendations from people that were in the unified school district up the wazoo, and from all of the clubs. Even judges, I had write letters of recommendations as well, who watched me and my career developing in what a program called mock trial, where you got to be, fake lawyers and you sat in front of a real judge and made objections and those types of things. So it was great. And the thing that I had going for me was, I believe I was a very well-rounded candidate, and that's what they were looking for. However, I looked at him and I was in shock that he would actually say that. And the whole class went silent. And then he says the very next thing, which shaped the rest of my life. And then he says, the only reason why you got in was because you're Mexican and they needed another Mexican. And now, if you thought the class was really quiet, now it is eternally quiet. And nobody could believe that somebody would actually say that. And so I looked at him. I didn't give a reply to the first thing. I looked at him on the second thing, and I said, you know what? I don't know how I got in, and I don't know why they let me in, but here's the one thing I do know. I got in, and you didn't. And
I can hear Grant Cardone I can just hear Grant Cardone in this type of situation. It really just does not freaking matter. No. How did you get in? You put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, and that's what evolves out of your blood, sweat, and tears. When you put something, if you don't, then things pass you by, and you wonder why things passed you by. I can just remember football practice and stuff when I was a younger kid, and my coach yelling at us to give 110%. And I'm thinking to myself, I wish this dude would have a heart attack. What the fuck is 110%? And you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. And so, but when the season came and we're playing against these badass football players, and now I understand what give 110% meant, because I got to give 110% to beat this guy. It's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in any aspect of life. Whatever you do, you better do that shit 110% or don't expect to win. That's just how I view things.
Well, and there was a valuable lesson here, and I'll tell you the lesson because I want to answer your question, and it's a long story to go through it, and that was, it did make me think, why did I get in? Why was I the guy that got in, and all these other talented individuals, which, by the way, the individual that said this, he was a very talented, super smart guy, right? And he also played sports, tennis, and he also lettered in tennis as well. He was also in leadership. Now, he was Caucasian, redhead, that's what I mentioned. And his comment that the only reason why you got in was because you were Mexican. They needed another Mexican. That's why. And at that time, affirmative action was a big thing in college admissions, right? And so I sat back and I thought about this, Trevor, and I thought, God, why did I get in? Do I even deserve to be here? And after I spent time thinking about this was when I was, I was 17, about to turn 18, and just about a month and a half from there. I finally said to myself, you can't ask why me. That's not important. Why me? The real question that you need to be asking is, what will I do now that I've got the opportunity? What will I do now that I've got the opportunity? So that one situation there where he said to me, the only reason why you got in was because you were Mexican, may have been true. That may have been the reason. They were looking for the super well-rounded kid. I was the super well-rounded kid that had a 3.97 GPA in every college prep, advanced placement college course, did horrible on the SAT, right? But then had every leadership thing you could think of, had all the sports that you can think of. I was a super well-rounded kid, and perhaps that was the determining factor. Maybe it was because they needed another Mexican guy, and they wanted to fill their quota and was part of affirmative action. No problem. But now the question is not why me. The question is what would you do with the opportunity when given the opportunity? Will you let it pass by? Will you sit there and think, maybe I don't deserve to be here? Why is it me? Should I not be here? Should I be here actually? No, what you need to be thinking about is what am I going to do now that I've been given the opportunity? And that one moment defined the rest of my entire business career. Case in point, full circle. I told you I wrote a check for $7,000 for the Miller Hyman sales training at 21 years old. It was all about, I got this opportunity making a six-figure income at 21 years old. The next youngest was 28. The next one after that was 35. Are you kidding me? Why me? Don't ask that question, why me? Now that I've got it, what am I going to do with it? I need to make myself better and be the best I could possibly be so that no one ever questions why you. No one ever questions your age. No one ever questions because you got it because you were Hispanic or male or female or you feel disabled. Whatever the reason why you got it, doesn't matter why someone gave you the shot. It just matters what you do with it. So that's a full circle to a little bit about my story, my background, and what created me and what created the drive all around me. That one defining moment still to this very day is what defines everything that I do when given an opportunity. Not why me, what am I going to do with it now that I got it?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Just doing these podcasts, doing these interviews, it's really special. Like really just meeting people and just like really getting to know who they are, like on another side of like, social media posts and websites and stuff like that. And just, really hearing like the human side of, who's running businesses today in 2024. And, it just makes me feel that like, I'm in the right place too, and the right thing at the right time, and so I think that we can finish this off here with like a topic that is like extremely dear to my heart, right? I'm a single father, and my youngest son, Josh, is he's a great kid, and I'm trying to get him focused on, he really does go to school, he does a lot of extracurriculars, but we're trying to get him focused on like, thinking into the future of college, business, just extracurriculars. And so like, what would be your advice to young entrepreneurs, young pre-entrepreneurs, to get a mindset? Well, how do you get them to get the mindset to think of my future?
So I've got a 14-year-old and I got a 10-year-old. And I can assure you that what defined me to be able to do what I did starting in freshman year was as a direct result of seeing my family and how we struggled. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was a full-time stay-at-home mom. There were 5 kids in the family, and we had a dog, a parrot, a cat. And I remember seeing when my mom would not eat to ensure that there was enough food for all the kids. Now, those are defining moments that create character in people. right? And so I saw that my dad would get up at 4 a.m. and that he'd come home somewhere between 9 and 10 because he had to work overtime in order to be able to pay for all these kids. And he took that responsibility very serious. So that work ethic was instilled inside of me very early on. And my dad always said to me, he goes, mijo, because we're Hispanic, he goes, mijo, I don't care if you become a truck driver. I don't care if you become a garbage man. Whatever you do, just be the best at it. That's what he instilled inside of me, right? Just be the best at it. So I can assure you that my defining character moments were as a result of my experiences. Now, fortunately, I was able to change the trajectory and have a solid life and provide for my family in a way that my father couldn't do based upon the opportunities that weren't given to him or my mom, right? But now today, what I think about is how do I instill that same value into my sons, who, by the way, have a lot of things that I didn't have, and they have gotten it way easier than myself. So I'll be very hopefully this is not offensive at all, but I'll be very frank. About 5 years ago, I had a gardener, and we have about a third of an acre, or a third of an acre, third of an acre lot. And it's a quite big lot that we have here in Lafayette, California. And I had a gardener. He was coming in and he was doing all the work. And then one day it hit me and I said, you know what? How am I going to instill in my sons the value of hard work, right? You know what? I'm going to let the gardener go. And I told my wife, I said, it's time that we become our own Mexicans. And so my sons and I, whether it is that gardening, whether it is grass cutting, edging, leaf picking, trees, whatever case might be, we're going to do that. My wife and I decided 2 years ago that we wanted to create a organic garden that was a edible garden. And so we took our entire lot and we reconstructed the whole lot, and we planted 67 fruit trees, fruit vines, and fruit bushes and or vegetable bushes, and all 67. And so now we're all learning as a family how to go about and putting in hard work and cultivate our plants, our things to be able to grow. So I needed something, because I truly believe that I know that I was defined by those hard-working moments of seeing my parents struggle. That defined me as an individual. My children do not see that struggle, and fortunately, we changed that trajectory. But how do I do that? And so, as an example, I just got through telling my son, "Hey, man." My youngest, he's almost 11 years old, and he was complaining about the fact that he had to go do yard work. And I said, "Hey, bro, I'll tell you what, keep the complaint going, and I'm going to keep increasing the workload. And you will forever be on restriction from."
Yeah, there you go, right there. That's the killer right there.
You are working, and then a lot of their friends, they get allowances and all that good stuff. And my wife asked, "Hey, maybe we should do it." And I said, no. We don't get paid to be part of a family. That is not what I would do.
That's the realest shit I've heard this year.
Right. And so I said, so my kids are like, but we don't get an allowance yet. I don't either for being a father. And neither does mom. Mom doesn't get an allowance. Dad doesn't get an allowance. We don't get paid to be part of a family. Whether you asked to be part of this family or not, I didn't ask. It happened. I was part of a family too. We don't get paid for that. But now what I will pay you for, here's what I will pay you for: reading books. You want to read a book? I'll pay you to read a book. You want to take it up a notch? I'll pay you to be able to put a PowerPoint together to do a presentation on family night where you can present to us what it is that you learned as a book report, the sources, materials, graphics. I'll pay you for that. But I'll be danged if I'm going to pay you for lifting a finger to wash dishes, wash clothes, fold clothes, clean up the yard, do the grass, pick up the dog poo. No way, no how. We don't get paid to be part of a family.
I like that. I really like that whole monetization, gamification of like the tasking, life-related things. Like these are just life things. Take the trash out, make your damn bed, clean your socks, just things that people have to do, and somebody's got to learn. Unfortunately, my wife passed away in 2015, and so my son's had a little bit rough, but it's just, life deals you the hands you're dealt, and you just live the life that you're dealt, right? And you make the best of it. And so, he does the best that he can, but it's just a process with the family dynamic and trying to process the world as a whole, and MTV and YouTube and PlayStation and stupid teachers, and like it's a never ending battle. But if you got good kids, you can go to sleep at night, saying a couple blessings, because I've got some great. Don't let me take the hat off, because I'm only probably a few years behind you. Don't let the beard fool you. But I love being a dad, and I really have got this desire to really start reaching out to and developing these some way for kids to find a way to start exploring these ideas of AI, business automation. I really like the ideas you just said about creating PowerPoints and stuff like that. I've been trying to find some ways to really just encourage them to get technical, get creative with being technical and things like that. And I think that's a good idea. Maybe I could pay you to do a PowerPoint, pay you to do a course or something, and then you can make a PowerPoint for the family and do it, and then we'll pay you. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Well, to that end, my wife and I, so we homeschool my oldest, who's a freshman now in high school.
Wow, that's what I want to do.
And so she does all the work. So we literally just talked today, and we were talking about, he's taken this cybersecurity course that right now, and he is the only freshman. There are a few juniors, a few seniors, and most of them are freshmen in college that are taking this course. And it's intense. It's a heavy, heavy, heavy workload, and he's struggling. And it's a little unfair in that he's a freshman in college, and he's the only one. So it's a little unfair. So we were talking about today, we said, hey, should we allow him to drop the course or not drop the course? And I said, honestly, I said, it is unfair. Think about it. He's the only freshman in the course, and the next highest is a junior. That's, the 2.5 years older in terms of maturity wise. So I said, I could see why we would let him drop it. And I said, but let's think about this. Why don't next semester, since we have full control over the curriculum, why don't we have him take a business sales course and a business marketing course? And what we'll do is we'll use our Vengreso sales prospecting training and all the content that we have. That's his homework. He has to build his own LinkedIn profile, because you have to be 13 or older to be able to have a LinkedIn profile. Build it all, follow the instructions. Then he learns how to do all the social media marketing components that we have been teaching, and he starts writing and building thought leadership and content. And then he also takes a marketing course, which is a marketing operations course. And since we have HubSpot, I got 1,000 hours of free training that he can go take, and he can use marketing HubSpot and go in and look at becoming a marketing HubSpot administrator. And by the way, he may say, oh, I love building workflows and using our real data. Or he may say, oh my God, I love sales. And so expose him to the different venues. He got cybersecurity this year. He doesn't like it. All right. So maybe he's not an IT developer, programmer type of guy. Now let's do sales. Let's do marketing. You got to take the course, and it's all self-paced. You can do this and you'll be exposed, because honestly, at 14 years old, my parents, I love my parents. We've got amazing relationships, truck driver and stay-at-home mom, and they struggled. But did they teach me how to become a business professional? No. Did they put me in a direction on taking a specific career? No, they didn't. They just kept saying, do your best, and that's all they did. So now I have the opportunity to be able to expose him to these different opportunities, and that's what I would say to all parents out there who are entrepreneurs. Expose your child to these different opportunities, force them to take it. On the cybersecurity, I think we're going to end up dropping this course. And, I told my wife, so what? It's a W. He gets a W on the college community transcript, but again, we did give him something big to bite off on. And that is a big one. Big. I mean, it's a college level course, right? As a freshman in high school.
And it's boring as all shit.
Exactly right.
Poor kid's like, what did I do? I should have just failed class.
Exactly right.
Man, cool. This was a great conversation, dude. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to listen back to this thing a couple of times. And so, listen, I want to just tell you, anytime you need anything, anytime you guys are, need some help with your AI automations, you come across the bug, you don't know what to do, You always reach out to us. I'm going to share your product in our groups and stuff like that. And when we publish publish the show, I will, link all your stuff, whatever you want to link. We'll put it on the YouTube description and all that, whatever. So once I edit the video and everything, I'm gonna send you the edited version with the link, and I give you all the all the short clips and all that stuff. So you'll have plenty of clips to share and stuff. It would be pretty cool. It was really fun meeting you, dude. And I just want to stay connected on LinkedIn. And I think it's cool, especially hearing about your kids and stuff.
Trebor, I appreciate it. Here's what I'll tell you, and for all of you listening in right now, if you put this part in, send me all the raw files, the raw video, the raw MP3s. Here's what I'll do. I'll take this entire podcast from the Viking Playbook podcast, and I'll republish it on the Modern Selling podcast, which is a 7-year-long running show, top 1.5% of all sales of all podcasts. So send me this that, and I'll put it in distribution to get it published before the end of the year. We'll make that happen on my podcast, a conversation that we'll have. By the way, what is it that you do, so that everybody listening to this podcast knows what exactly you do?
So we own Viking AI Solutions, and we are a automation agency that really has its roots in sales and marketing. So we're a marketing agency that really focused on like tech-driven, data-driven solutions, and that really evolved into like AI over the last year, which totally has taken a right-hand turn into strictly AI. We've pretty much given up on like the SMMA, social media marketing agency. It's really almost a scam anyways. Like people running SMMAs, you can't really guarantee the results that you're boasting in your ads to sign clients, and they're already leaving by the 90-day mark. You can't get results in 90 days anyways. So it's almost just like a revolving door, just keep signing clients and all that. So we got out of that. We into the strictly AI solutions, and we build all kind of custom solutions. Anything from we can do from ManyChat to LangChain, Raza. We do knowledge retrieval systems. We're working on some SDR projects, like building out, automated sales agent SDRs, which are pretty cool. I agree with you on the fact that like they have a long ways to, maybe not a long ways to go, but a nice long sprint before it's really fully like, this is a take over the position of SDR. But I do believe that it's highly beneficial to have these systems in place to be as like you were saying, as an assistant to your staff. And so, like, here's where we're really seeing results for the customers is that, like, you could take this system and really reduce your employee count. Like, let's say you have 4 or 5 SDRs, and you're getting dismal results because, let's be honest, hiring a good SDR is like, getting a response from Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Like, it's really not, it doesn't really happen. Like, it all comes back down to like not sharing that same vision. Like you were saying about, getting a CTO that shared the same vision and all that. Like, I totally agree with all that, but like, it's the same damn thing all the way down to the VA or the SDR position. Like, it's employees that don't share the vision. It's really just hard to maintain them. And so with the AI, it kind of just reduces a lot of the error, a lot of the manual tasks. From like, we can build a system where it can take all the way from our leads, from our lead enrichment database, and distribute that to multi-channel outreach, hyper-personalized with ChatGPT 4.0, and it can send it to email, SMS, voice, AI caller. It can send custom, like send Spark email, custom video emails. Really the sky is the limit. If you can dream it, we can build it. And so, I got a CTO, the tech guy, so we kind of, I'm semi-tech, all business. And he's like, no business, all tech. Like, I told him, hey, so you want to come on the podcast? He was like, I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, bro, just keep coding. And so, that's kind of where we're at. And so right now we're on this, like, brink of, like, this for the business side, like, transforming our client base into, like, AI automations. And like, honestly, the bottleneck really is like, it's such new services and technologies that there's a lot of people like still on the fence with a lot of these things. And like, let's be honest, like some of the pain points you're talking about with like the knowledge retrieval and stuff like that, like companies that really don't get on board with these stuff, like soon to start trying to find solutions to like, really build out their database for what's coming next, they're gonna be in trouble, trying to catch up, because like the fact of the matter is your competitor is doing these things. Like your competitor is exploring these technologies and is optimizing their processes to get their maximum ROI. And so, just begs the question is, what are you doing to match that? And so, that's where we come in. We kind of just find the holistic approach, the easiest way to like, come across it. Because a lot of times business owners don't really know what they need. They just know what they want. And so, we kind of can step in and start picking, different aspects of the business, operational, sales, marketing, that we can start to optimize and automate. And so, the key is to build scalable solutions. Like you mentioned something about pods, or I forget how you mentioned it, but we have like similar, engineering blueprints for our, how we like to build things out, and, building out pods and things like that. It makes it super easy to duplicate. And, so that's kind of what we do and what we specialize in. And so the AI's really just taking it forward. And that's where like the SaaS comes in. Like we're having I'm having the SaaS itch. I want to make my SaaS product born into the world, but I really feel that the best thing to do is to keep doing the service and let the SaaS kind of just, evolve out of its, out of the service.
Makes sense. Like I said, if you can do it and you're self-funded, depending on your goal, like I said earlier, then I highly encourage you to go ahead and do it.
All right, Martin. It was good talking to you, brother. Let's stay in touch on LinkedIn, and then when I connect with you when I edit the video.
Sounds good, bro. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast.
All right, Mark. Later, dude.
Take care, man.
Well, that's it. It's a wrap. The Modern Selling Nation has brought to you a 2-part series podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Now, listen, if you're interested in connecting with me and engaging with me, reach out on LinkedIn. Make sure you send a personalized connection request so that I know that you heard me on the Modern Selling Podcast. But hey, don't turn that dial quite yet. I've got this very important message for you right now. Thanks for listening to the Modern Selling Podcast. Please do me a huge favor and give the Modern Selling Podcast a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Oh, and don't forget, if you'd like to save 20 hours or more in a month and increase your productivity, go right now and download FlyMSG, that's FlyMSG.io, for free. It's your free text expander and personal writing assistant. Hey, thanks for listening in, and until the next episode, good selling.